Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Angel of Death, John Rare, back again for a Haunted or Not. This time we are in Cedar Grove Baptist Cemetery, located here in Moody, Alabama. There's not a lot of stories about this place being haunted, of course, or any kind of stories to even do with that, but it's one of the biggest here in Moody, and it definitely has a lot of old graves and some particular ones that we'll show you today. The upkeep is pretty well here. There are some damaged graves and some pretty old ones, so let's do a walk through here, see what we find. This is the back of Cedar Grove Baptist Church. It's actually got the Historical Society of St. Clair, 1843. Nice old building. Just located directly to the left of it, if you're in the back, of course, is the cemetery itself. We'll walk through the gates here. As I mentioned, this is a rather large cemetery, and a very nice kept one as well. And as I've mentioned, yes, this one does not have any kind of stories or lure behind it about being haunted. It's just a simply old cemetery. It does have some war veterans in it. This one has been slightly destroyed over time. 1912 to 1914. Let's see, there's a certain one that I'm looking for in this location. Let's see here. Now, also, while I'm looking for the one, one reason I said this one has a little bit of history for me in particular is I've done my Carnage Cup 10 promo here, and I also did the New Religion promos here. There's a nice shot of the church itself. I'm actually having a hard time relocating the certain grave that I wanted to put on here. As I mentioned, this is a large cemetery. Some stones have definitely been damaged over time here. Not by vandalism, by the looks of it, it's just aged over time. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't seem to re-find the one that I wanted to talk about. It actually had a pentagram on it, but I have lost sight of it, unfortunately. And as I said, this is a huge cemetery located in Moody, Alabama. It looks like some of the older graves are definitely towards the church itself. As I continue to walk east here, some really big graves as well. We'll walk up this road and see what we find. A large stack of old stones gathered here, slightly in a weird middle position. Now, this is actually considered Leeds, Alabama. I'm not sure if I said Moody earlier, but this is Leeds. Definitely want to thank everybody for supporting the show, asking for more footage. We are actually going to go back to Shiloh and do a part 2 to that. We're going to make it a little bit later in the evening, make it a little bit darker apparently. And we're going to do Mount Nebo, which is in Trussville, Alabama. Definitely one of the older ones in that location as well. As mentioned before, we always respectfully do these interviews. If it's private property, we reach out to the owners and get permission. And if we don't get permission, we don't go to the location. I was actually trying to get into Bass Cemetery, which is located in Irondale as well. And the guy never got back with me yet, so we haven't went. Hopefully he will. I know Bass is definitely a big name cemetery with a lot of lore behind it. We're currently walking up to the highest point of the cemetery, which is where the American flag is, and the cross. As I mentioned, this is a rather large cemetery. We're almost at the highest point here. So when you're up here, you can actually see the length of how big it is. That is the church down there. Directly behind the American flag and the cross is Walmart Hill, if everybody knows that. And of course, to the immediate left is Kilgore Funeral Home and Leeds and Moody Restaurant District. So definitely the oldest tombstones are near the church itself. As I said, the size of this place is pretty grand. World War II Marine Corps. You go to many of these places, they definitely have their fair share of old U.S. veterans throughout them. We are currently walking to the farthest part of the cemetery. It's the most distance from the church itself. Now, the point of these are always to say if it's haunted or not. As I mentioned earlier, no one has ever really said this place was haunted, or it really don't even have much lore behind it. It's just old. And of course, I've never really found a place that I have certified as haunted. If you can see on the far background, you actually see the Leeds concrete plant all the way in the back there, if you can see that. As I mentioned, most of the older stuff is closest to the church, which is where we're currently walking back to. Cedar Grove Baptist Church. Definitely this is the cleanest and most well upkept place out of everywhere I've visited so far. And definitely don't see anything out of the way here. It's actually a very nice place in a very busy part of Leeds, coming right off Interstate 20. I actually see zero vandalism. That's the first piece of trash I've seen. Definitely the older stuff is down here. I actually seen one from the Confederate War located in here. Let's see. Born in 1876. It's driving me crazy because I can't find the one stone that stuck out to me earlier. The one stone I wanted to get on here. And of course, now that I'm looking, I can't find it. But of course, you never know what you'll find when you do these. This stone here is actually overturned. Probably just because of age. There was one certain stone in here that I definitely wanted to get on here, but I cannot re-find it. Hey, look at this one. We're not going to get the name on there, but can you make that out? That's from 1871. Well, when it comes down to it, haunted or not, I say this place is definitely not haunted. It's actually one of the best places I've seen upkeep. So Cedar Grove Baptist Cemetery, not haunted. nothing would make me happier than to actually see some sort of proof that ghosts or there's something else beyond what you get to see every day. So far I haven't been able to see it. We've only been to 3 locations currently, but it would, tickle me silly. It'd be, a once in a lifetime event if something could actually just happen or show proof of an afterlife. And honestly, that's what I want to see, but haven't been able to see anything yet. So until next time, John Rare.